For centuries, it has defied explanation, a book unlike any other, penned in an unknown script, filled with illustrations of plants that don't exist, celestial bodies that puzzle, and enigmatic figures that seem to hint at a forgotten world. It sits in the hushed archives of Yale University's Voynich Library, a silent challenge to the greatest minds, a riddle wrapped in parchment. This is the Voynich Manuscript, and its story is one of enduring mystery, obsessive pursuit, and the tantalizing possibility of a secret waiting to be revealed. Chapter 1. The first glimpse or a book from nowhere. Our journey into the Enigma begins not with its creation, but with its first verifiable appearance in the historical record. Picture 17th century Prague, a hub of alchemy, astrology, and intellectual ferment. It's here, in the year 1665, that the Roman Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher receives a peculiar letter. The sender is Johannes Marcus Marci, the rector of Charles University, and with his letter comes a book, an extraordinary volume, bound in unassuming vellum, filled with strange drawings and an utterly indecipherable script. Marci's letter, our earliest concrete piece of evidence, is itself fascinating. He claims the book once belonged to Emperor Rudolf II, a monarch deeply fascinated by the occult and esoteric knowledge. Rudolf, Marci suggests, paid 600 ducats for it, a king's ransom at the time, indicating its perceived value, even then, as something incredibly special, perhaps even magical. Marci himself inherited it from an alchemist named George Baresch, who had, for decades, fruitlessly attempted to understand its contents. Baresch, frustrated, had even written to Kircher years earlier, describing the book as an enigma of the Sphinx, and begging for his expertise. Kircher, a polymath renowned for his work on ancient languages and cryptography, seemed the logical choice. But Kircher, despite his considerable intellect and vast resources, could make no more sense of it than Baresch or Marci. The manuscript, passed from hand to hand, remained a closed book. It disappeared from public view for over 2 centuries, a ghost in the annals of forgotten libraries, only to resurface in the most unexpected of places. Fast forward to 1912, an antique book dealer, an American named Wilfrid Voynich, stumbles upon a trove of rare manuscripts in the Jesuit college at Villa Mondragone, near Frascati, Italy. Among them, tucked away, was it, the very same indecipherable tome that had once baffled Kircher. Voynich, recognizing its profound uniqueness, acquired it, and with his acquisition, the manuscript not only gained its modern name, the Voynich Manuscript, but also re-entered the spotlight, igniting a fervent, almost obsessive, global quest for its meaning. Voynich, a man of keen intellect and entrepreneurial spirit, immediately understood the significance of his find. He publicized it, sent facsimiles to cryptographers and scholars worldwide, hoping that someone, somewhere, could crack its code. What he didn't realize was that he was unleashing a puzzle that would frustrate, tantalize, and ultimately defeat generations of the world's most brilliant minds. The manuscript itself is small, roughly 23.5 by 16.2 centimeters, about the size of a modern paperback. It's composed of around 240 vellum pages, though evidence suggests some pages are missing. The pages are filled with an elegant, flowing script, written from left to right, seemingly without corrections or hesitations, as if the scribe knew exactly what they were writing. But it's not just the text that fascinates. It's the bewildering array of illustrations that truly sets it apart. Chapter 2. A glimpse inside the worlds within. To understand the Enigma, we must truly look inside. The Voynich Manuscript isn't a monolithic text. It's a collection of distinct, illustrated sections, each hinting at a specific subject, yet all rendered in the same alien script and unsettlingly familiar yet unfamiliar artistic style. Scholars have broadly categorized these sections, giving us clues, however faint, to its possible purpose. The botanical section dominates a large portion of the manuscript. Page after page, we are presented with meticulously drawn plants. But here's where the mystery deepens. While some plants bear a passing resemblance to known flora, the vast majority are utterly unrecognizable. They possess roots, stems, leaves, and flowers that twist and merge in impossible combinations or display features that simply don't exist in our known botanical world. Are they fantastical creations, extinct species, or perhaps highly stylized representations of real plants altered for a hidden purpose? The lack of correspondence to any known botanical index has been a major stumbling block for naturalists and botanists alike. They seem to belong to a parallel Earth, a botanist's dream, or a cryptographer's nightmare. Then there's the astronomical section. This part features intricate circular diagrams, often accompanied by celestial bodies, suns, moons, and stars. Some appear to depict constellations, others astrological charts with zodiac symbols. Yet, even here, there are anomalies. The arrangement of stars often doesn't match known celestial maps of the period, and some diagrams contain strange, almost microscopic, rows of human figures, often naked, interconnected by lines, as if part of some intricate cosmic dance or process. Are these horoscopes? Alchemical diagrams related to planetary influences? Or a unique system of understanding the cosmos, lost to time? The blend of recognizable astronomical elements with completely alien ones makes this section particularly perplexing. Perhaps the most striking, and arguably the most infamous, are the illustrations of the biological or balneological section. This is where the human form makes its most prominent appearance, and it's unlike anything else in medieval manuscripts that we see small, naked women, often with swollen bellies, bathing in elaborate networks of green or brown liquid-filled tubs, pipes, and pools. These figures are sometimes connected by tubes, or seem to be interacting with the strange plumbing. The imagery is deeply suggestive, yet utterly opaque. Is it a health manual, treatise on gynecology or reproduction? A ritualistic purification guide? The sheer strangeness of these bathing scenes, combined with their repetitive nature, hints at a deeply personal, perhaps even esoteric, function for this section. Some have even theorized about a connection to spas, natural hot springs, or even a form of early medical illustration. The cosmological section offers large, fold-out pages, some folding out up to 6 times their normal width. These immense diagrams feature highly abstract designs, often swirling and interconnected, with castles, volcanoes, and other enigmatic structures. They evoke a sense of vastness and complexity, hinting at philosophical concepts or a grand system of the universe. Are these representations of different worlds, philosophical maps, or perhaps extremely complex alchemical processes? Their scale and intricate detail suggest they convey profoundly important information, yet their meaning remains tantalizingly out of reach. Finally, we have the pharmaceutical section, often containing individual drawings of roots and leaves, accompanied by what appear to be containers or jars, similar to apothecary vials. This section further supports the idea of the manuscript having a medicinal or herbal purpose, but again, the lack of identifiable plants makes any practical application impossible to discern. And then there's the long, dense recipe section, which consists almost entirely of short paragraphs marked with stars or bullet points, suggesting a series of instructions or formulas. This is where the text is most prominent, and where the mystery of the script truly comes to the fore. These distinct sections provide a framework, but they only deepen the riddle. The illustrations are not mere decorations. They are intrinsically linked to the text, sometimes even having captions in the mysterious script that it's clear this is a unified work, created by someone with a coherent purpose, even if that purpose remains profoundly hidden. The sheer effort involved in creating such a detailed and extensive manuscript speaks volumes about its importance to its original creator. But who was that creator, and why did they choose to encode their knowledge in such an impenetrable way? Chapter 3, The Cipher Hunt. Breaking the code. From the moment Wilfrid Voynich revealed the manuscript to the world, the race to decipher it began. It became the Mount Everest of cryptography, attracting the best minds of the 20th and 21st centuries. The challenges are immense. We don't know the language, we don't know the alphabet, and we don't even know if it is a code in the traditional sense. Early attempts focused on traditional cryptographic methods. Was it a simple substitution cipher where each Voynich character stands for a letter in a known language? This was quickly ruled out. The statistical properties of the Voynich script simply don't match any known European language. For instance, some characters appear far more frequently than typical letters in, say, English or Latin. Certain characters only appear at the beginning or end of words, or never appear next to each other. This kind of consistent patterning suggests a highly structured system, but not one easily cracked by simple letter-for-letter substitution. Perhaps it's a polyalphabetic cipher, like the Voynich cipher, where a keyword shifts the alphabet, making frequency analysis more difficult. Or a transposition cipher, where the letters are rearranged. Cryptographers during both world wars, fresh from their successes in breaking enemy codes, turned their formidable skills to the Voynich. William F. Friedman, one of America's greatest cryptanalysts, who played a crucial role in breaking Japanese codes during World War II, dedicated decades of his life to the manuscript with his wife, Elizabeth Friedman, another brilliant cryptographer. Their team, the First Signals Intelligence Service, meticulously analyzed the manuscript, building concordances, counting character frequencies, and looking for patterns. They identified distinct words and observed their repetition, but ultimately, even their combined genius could not unlock its secrets. Friedman famously concluded it was probably an artificial language of some kind. The rise of computers in the latter half of the 20th century offered new hope. Powerful algorithms could analyze the text at speeds unimaginable to human cryptographers. Researchers like Gordon Rugg, a computer scientist and linguist, used statistical analysis to demonstrate intriguing patterns. Rugg, for example, showed that the Voynich script exhibits Zipf's law, a linguistic principle where the frequency of any word is inversely proportional to its rank in the frequency table. This is typical of natural languages, suggesting the Voynich is not random gibberish. However, Rugg also experimented with a technique called card-and-grill, a steganographic method where a template with cutouts is placed over a text, revealing the hidden message. He demonstrated that by using such a grill, one could generate text that looks remarkably similar to Voynich script, including its statistical properties, even if the underlying meaning was nonsensical. This led him to propose the controversial theory that the manuscript might be a sophisticated hoax, a meaningless text generated by a complex cryptographic method designed to appear legitimate. Other theories on the nature of the script include stenography or shorthand, a highly abbreviated form of writing for a known language, or micrography, tiny, almost invisible writing, perhaps forming the true message within the larger, visible script. Transliteration, a known language written using an entirely new alphabet. Composite cipher, a combination of multiple cryptographic techniques. An extinct language, a real language, but one that has vanished from human knowledge, making decipherment exceptionally difficult without a Rosetta Stone. A deliberate hoax/forgery, a sophisticated creation intended to deceive or simply demonstrate a complex cryptographic skill with no underlying meaning. Adding to the complexity is the presence of what appear to be different hands or scribes in the manuscript, though this is debated. Some linguistic analyses suggest there might be 2 or even 3 distinct writing styles, or perhaps even multiple dialects, within the same underlying language. This would imply a collaborative effort or a deliberate attempt to make the text even more complex. Modern computational linguistics and artificial intelligence have now been brought to bear. Researchers are applying machine learning algorithms, deep learning, and natural language processing techniques, typically used for translating modern languages, to the Voynich. They analyze patterns of character sequences, word groupings, and how words relate to the illustrations, hoping to find a statistical fingerprint that aligns with a known language, or to uncover an internal grammatical structure. Some recent studies have claimed to find patterns consistent with a Semitic language, like Hebrew or Arabic, or even a Caucasian language. But these claims often lack broad consensus and usually only manage to translate a handful of words, mostly captions to illustrations, rather than the entire text. The problem is, without a definitive key, these translations are largely speculative. Is it really a translation, or simply an accidental statistical match? The cipher hunt continues, with each new technological advancement offering a glimmer of hope, only to be met by the manuscript's persistent, baffling silence. Chapter 4. The theories, who, what, when, why. With no definitive solution to its script, scholars and enthusiasts have turned their attention to the manuscript's origins, its creator, and its purpose. The theories are as diverse and intricate as the manuscript itself, ranging from the plausible to the truly outlandish. Dating the manuscript, for many years, based on the historical context of its first appearance and the style of its illustrations, the Voynich was generally assumed to be a product of the late 15th or early 16th century. However, in 2009, a breakthrough occurred. A team led by Dr. Greg Hodgins at the University of Arizona performed radiocarbon dating on 4 small samples of the manuscript's vellum. The results were conclusive. The parchment itself dates from between 1404 and 1438 AD. This places its creation firmly in the early 15th century, predating many of the historical figures previously associated with it, like Rudolph II or even John Dee, by decades or even centuries. This revelation was crucial, as it immediately debunked theories linking it directly to later historical figures as its original author. It pushed the manuscript's origins firmly back into the heart of the European Renaissance. So, who could have created such a masterpiece of mystery in the early 15th century? Theory 1. The alchemical or herbalist text. Given the botanical and pharmaceutical sections, a strong prevailing theory is that the Voynich Manuscript is a treatise on herbal medicine, alchemy, or pharmacology. Many medieval manuscripts dealt with these subjects. The unusual plants could be highly stylized representations of real medicinal herbs, perhaps disguised to protect valuable knowledge or trade secrets. The bathing women could represent pharmaceutical processes or health practices. This theory aligns with the general intellectual climate of the Renaissance, where advancements in medicine and the pursuit of alchemical secrets were prominent. Theory 2. The practical purpose or a woman's guide. Some scholars suggest the manuscript might have been created by or for women, particularly noblewomen or those involved in convent life. The bathing scenes, combined with the botanical and pharmaceutical sections, could be interpreted as a guide to women's health, midwifery, or even a compendium of herbal remedies for a specific community. In an era where women had limited access to formal education, a visually rich, perhaps coded, practical guide could have been invaluable. The elegant, flowing script also often brings to mind the hand of a woman scribe. Theory 3. The astronomical/astrological almanac. The astronomical section is undeniable. Could the manuscript be an elaborate astrological almanac, used for prognostication, determining favorable times for planting or medical treatments, or even for personal horoscopes? Astrology was deeply intertwined with medicine and daily life in the medieval period. The strange constellations and planetary diagrams might represent a unique or localized system of celestial observation. Theory 4. The linguistic experiment/artificial language. The unique statistical properties of the Voynich text have led some to believe it's not a cipher of a known language, but an entirely constructed or artificial language. Perhaps an early attempt at a universal language, or a philosophical language, designed to be perfectly logical and unambiguous. Figures like John Wilkins later attempted to create such languages. If so, it would be an incredible linguistic achievement for its time. Theory 5. The hoax/forgery theory. This is perhaps the most controversial and certainly the most disheartening theory for those who dedicate their lives to decipherment. As mentioned with Gordon Rugg's work, the manuscript could be a sophisticated forgery, designed to fool collectors and patrons. The vast sums paid for it, and the known existence of forgeries in the art and manuscript world throughout history, lend some weight to this. The question then becomes, who had the motive, the skill, and the time to create such an elaborate, meaningless deception? If it is a hoax, it's a masterpiece of deception, one that has fooled generations of experts. Some proponents of this theory suggest it might have been created by Edward Kelly, an alchemist and medium associated with John Dee, known for his dubious practices. However, the radiocarbon dating significantly weakens Kelly's role as the original forger, as he lived too late. If it's a hoax, it's an early 15th century hoax, which only makes the technical achievement of the forgery even more remarkable. Theory 6. The lost knowledge theory. Could the manuscript contain a vast compendium of knowledge from a forgotten civilization, a secret society, or a brilliant individual whose work was deliberately kept hidden? The level of detail in the illustrations, the apparent complexity of the text, and the sheer effort involved in its creation suggest profound purpose. Perhaps it was a family secret, a cult document, or even the work of a lone genius who created a unique system of recording knowledge. This theory appeals to the romantic notion of undiscovered wisdom. Each theory has its proponents and its compelling arguments, but none has yet provided a universally accepted answer. The lack of a Rosetta Stone, a bilingual text with the Voynich script alongside a known language, remains the biggest obstacle. Without it, every decipherment attempt, every theory about its purpose is essentially a shot in the dark, albeit an educated one. Chapter 5. The human element, obsession, and the unknown. The story of the Voynich manuscript is not just about a book. It's about the human compulsion to solve riddles, to uncover secrets, and to push the boundaries of knowledge that IT has drawn in an eclectic mix of individuals over the centuries. Scholars, cryptographers, linguists, botanists, art historians, and countless amateur enthusiasts, each driven by a mixture of intellectual curiosity, academic ambition, and perhaps a touch of obsession. Consider the journey of John Dee, the renowned Elizabethan magus, astronomer, and advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. While the radiocarbon dating disproves him as the creator of the manuscript, historical accounts suggest he owned it in the late 16th century. Dee was deeply immersed in the occult, attempting to communicate with angels through his scryer, Edward Kelly. It's plausible that Dee, a collector of rare and esoteric texts, saw the Voynich as another key to unlocking divine wisdom or hidden knowledge. The manuscript's passage from Dee to Emperor Rudolph II, as Marcy claimed, fits perfectly with the intellectual currents of the time. Imagine Dee, a man who believed in the power of Enochian magic and communicated with spirits, holding this book, perhaps believing it to be a divinely inspired text or a repository of forgotten alchemical secrets. Then there are the cryptographers, the minds trained to see patterns in chaos. William F. Friedman's unwavering dedication is a testament to the manuscript's magnetic pull. Despite his immense successes during wartime, the Voynich remained his unsolved puzzle, a professional challenge he could not conquer. His meticulous records, now preserved, provide invaluable insight into the sheer difficulty of the problem. His wife, Elizabeth, a formidable cryptographer in her own right, was equally baffled. Their intellectual struggle highlights the profound complexity of the manuscript. The Internet age has transformed the Voynich community. What was once the domain of a few elite scholars is now a global, collaborative, and often competitive endeavor. Online forums, dedicated websites, and social media groups are buzzing with theories, analyses, and new observations. High-resolution digital scans of the manuscript are available to anyone with an internet connection, democratizing the research process. This has led to an explosion of new ideas, some brilliant, some less so, but all contributing to the collective human effort to understand this enigma. But the allure of the Voynich manuscript also carries a cautionary tale. The desire for a breakthrough, for the moment of eureka, can lead to confirmation bias, where researchers see what they want to see or overinterpret patterns. Many solutions have been announced over the years, from claims of it being written in a dialect of medieval Latin, to a lost Aztec language, to an encrypted message from aliens. Each announcement generates excitement, only to be debunked or fail to stand up to rigorous peer review. The manuscript has a way of humbling even the most confident decipherers. The very mystery of the Voynich is perhaps its greatest strength. It sparks imagination, fosters intellectual debate, and reminds us that there are still profound secrets hidden in the past, waiting to be unearthed. It stands as a monument to the boundaries of human knowledge and the enduring power of the unknown to captivate our minds. It challenges us to think differently, to look beyond conventional understanding, and to confront the limits of our own interpretative abilities. For some, the solution must lie in a natural language, albeit a highly obscured one. For others, it's a carefully constructed artifice, a linguistic game designed to confound. And for a few, it holds the promise of ancient wisdom, a profound truth veiled by an impenetrable script. Each perspective adds another layer to the manuscript's mystique, ensuring its continued relevance. The Voynich manuscript isn't just a book, it's a mirror reflecting our own intellectual drives, our curiosity, and our insatiable need to solve puzzles. It's a testament to the enduring power of an unsolved mystery. Chapter 6. The enduring riddle, what if it's never solved? After centuries of intense scrutiny, countless failed attempts, and the application of cutting-edge technology, the Voynich manuscript remains stubbornly, profoundly silent. What if, after all this effort, it is simply never deciphered? The possibility is very real. Without an external key, like a Rosetta Stone, the chances of a complete and verifiable translation are slim. Even if parts of it were to be deciphered, like a handful of words or phrases, understanding the full meaning of its complex illustrations and intricate text might forever remain beyond our grasp. But perhaps that's part of its enduring appeal. The Voynich manuscript thrives on its enigma. It is the ultimate intellectual challenge, a permanent fixture in the pantheon of unsolved historical puzzles. Its unsolved nature fuels fascination, encourages new generations of researchers, and ensures its place in popular culture. It inspires novels, films, and video games, becoming a symbol of ultimate mystery. Some argue that the true value of the Voynich isn't in its eventual decipherment, but in the journey of trying. The attempts to crack its code have pushed the boundaries of cryptography, linguistics, and computer science. The interdisciplinary efforts to understand it have fostered collaboration among diverse fields. The debates surrounding its origin and purpose have illuminated aspects of medieval history, alchemy, and early scientific thought. In its defiance, it forces us to be more innovative, more critical, and more imaginative in our approach to understanding the past. The manuscript also serves as a potent reminder of the fragility of knowledge. How easily can information, even meticulously recorded information, become lost, unreadable, or incomprehensible across the vast stretches of time? It underscores the importance of context, of shared understanding, and of the cultural frameworks that allow knowledge to be transmitted and preserved. Ultimately, the Voynich Manuscript stands as a monument to the limits of our understanding. It is a portal to a mind or minds from half a millennium ago, a world that speaks to us in an utterly foreign tongue. It challenges our assumptions about history, language, and knowledge itself. For now, this perplexing book, bound in humble vellum, continues its silent vigil in the Voynich library. It whispers of secrets, beckons with the promise of revelation, and remains steadfastly the most mysterious book in the world. And perhaps that is precisely how it was always meant to be. What are your theories on the Voynich Manuscript? Is it a lost language, a sophisticated hoax, or a key to ancient wisdom? Share your thoughts.